Morning, everyone. Welcome to VisaLearning.com. We are the global knowledge partner for immigration. As you all know, my name is Madhvi and I am your host for today's session. First and foremost, I take an opportunity to thank you all for making all our sessions successful by providing your valuable, precious comments, feedbacks, and suggestions. And with all your reinforce and partnership, we are here today to modernize about news and information on immigration. So let's begin. All right. So the agenda for today's session, we have two sessions. One is for Canada immigration news and updates that will be covered from 11 a.m. to 11:30 a.m. IST, wherein we'll be knowing more about express entry draws of 3rd April 2019, wherein about 3,350 applicants invited to apply for permanent residency of Canada. We'll know in detail about Saskatchewan updates, in demand occupation list with 13 new positions, continued by the Express Entry 2019 quarterly report. That's the first quarter, wherein about 20,000 invitations to apply for Canadian PR. Moving ahead with wherein Canada to launch dedicated agri-food industry immigration pilot program, continued with the H-1B issues, which brings renewed US media interest in Canada's immigration, ending up with new draw for Manitoba's to the year 2019. The second half of a session will cover with Australian immigration news and updates for about 11:30 a.m. to 12 p.m. IST. We'll know about immigrations and the budget of Australia 2019. We'll know also about the three new regional provincial visas, the revised point system for new immigrants, about the minimum income of $83,000 which requires for a new parent sponsor visa, the 5-year temporary visa for parent commence in Australia. Not but the least, we'll talk about Australia to get more Kiwis under the New Deal. Right. So moving ahead with the first update of Canada. That's all about express entry draws of 3rd April 2019. Here I take a great opportunity for to tell this that Canada has issued 3,350 invitations to apply for Canadian PR to the express entry candidates with a score as low as 451 in the new draw held on April 3rd, wherein the minimum score in today's draw is 1 point lower than the cutoff score compared to the previous express entry invitation, which was held on March 20th with a number of 452 ITs. So, being known that this is the third consecutive draw in which we had a cutoff score has gone down, a trend that may be allotted to the consistent 2-week interval between these two draws. Therefore, the Canada is currently ahead of the pace it had set in the year 2018, which finished with a record of 89,800 ITAs issued in total for the year 2018, which is fantastically amazing. Okay, so let's look at the comparison chart with the number of invitations as of April 1st draw from the year 2015 to 2019. Well, if you look into the bar graph for the year 2019, it shows that a number of 24,550 ITAs, which is actually the result of April 3rd, 2019. So when we compared this with the year 2018, the bar graph shows the number of 17,500 ITAs. So therefore, when compared to the last year of 2018, the ITAs have gone up by 7,050 ITAs in number by this year 2019. So there is a great increase of ITAs this year. The Saskatchewan update, that's in demand occupation list, wherein we had 13 new occupations added. So we can say the computer programmers and the interactive media developers are the most highly demand occupations, which are amongst the 13 professions that have been added to the Saskatchewan in demand occupation list. So there is no job offer letter required for either the subcategories, wherein the Saskatchewan Immigrant Nominee Program, that is SINP, is a part of Canada's Provincial Nominee Program, which allows the participating provinces and territories to nominate a set of numbers of economic immigration candidates for Canadian PR. So the candidates in the Federal Express Entry pool who have actually obtained a provincial nomination through the SINP's Express Entry subcategory are awarded an additional 600 points towards their ranking score, which is effectively guaranteeing an invitation to apply for the Canada PR. So the candidates who are not in the express entry pool may also be able to pursue a nomination by the SINP through the occupations in demand subcategory. So the both express entry and occupations in demand subcategories use the in demand occupations list among their eligibility criteria. So if you look at the new occupations, which are amongst 24 number that are now on the revised list, is updated on Thursday, April 4th with SINP. So 9 occupations were removed as a part of their update. So of those 24 occupations now listed, 9 do not require professional status or licensure, and all nine are occupations that were added as a part of update, and each one has specified educational requirements, wherein the SINP revises its in-demand occupation list periodically to ensure positive employment prospects in Saskatchewan. Right, so this is about the express entry of 2019 when the first quarter report over 20,000 in invitations to apply for Canada PR. So if we have a comparison of 2018, the first quarter, and 2019, the first quarter, the first quarter of 2019 has officially surpassed the first quarter of 2018 with 21,200 invitations to apply for the Canadian PR, which is issued to the candidates in the express entry system. So overall, there is about 3,700 increase from 2018 first quarter that ended at 17,500 invitations which were issued. So in the year 2018, an all-time record of 89,800 ITAs were issued, and this is the highest number of the invitations which were issued for any one year since the express entry was introduced in 2015. So this is an expected even bigger year when compared to the last year. So the plan outlined rising annually intake the targets of the year ahead, culminating in 350,000 admissions in the year 2021. So the increasing intake target of 2019 and 2020 mean there's a total number of invitations issued in the year of 2019 may exceed the ITA record which was set in the year 2018. So the Canada government utilizes the express entry system to select permanent immigration candidates from a pool of potential candidates who are eligible under one of the federal high-skilled economic immigration program, such as the Federal Skilled Worker Program. Other one we have the Federal Skilled Trades Program or the Canadian Experience Class. So if you see, this year has been a tremendously fantastic year. Do you know why? Have you ever thought about? It's just because this year had the largest ever first draw which we had since the express entry system was introduced 4 years ago. So while comparing the total number of express entry that's ITAs issued in the invitation initial quarter of 2018 and 2019, it is a foolproof evidence that the first quarter of the year beats the last year in the terms of ITAs issued. Wow, can you just see the graph rising from the number 779 to 3,900? Isn't it fantastic to look at the graph within this 5 years? So this is the largest ever first draw of the year since the express entry system was actually introduced. So if we see in 2015, we just had 779 ITAs, wherein in 2019 it has been increased to 3,900 ITAs. Looking on year changes in January 31st, 2015, with a number of 779 ITAs, it jumped to 1,463 by the year 2016, and a great increase again from January 2016 to January 2017, which is the double in the number of ITAs issued for that year. However, we could see a fall in the year of 2018 with 152 ITAs when compared to the year 2017. So just look at the drastic increase from 2,750 ITAs to 3,900 ITAs. It's a straight away 1,150 number of ITAs, which increased from the year 2018 to 2019. All right, so let's move to the next slide, which says Canada to launch dedicated agri-food industry immigration pilot program. So this is the new thing which the Canada has introduced this year. It says that the Canada government announced plans for a new 3-year immigration pilot designed to support the growth of Canada's agri-food sector. So the main concept of introducing this program is they are showing or making the pathway for the people to get a PR for that country. Okay, if you see here, second point says in the budget 2019, which was released on March 19, the Government of Canada stated that to help the agri-food sector meet Canada's ambitious export targets and attract and retain needed labor, wherein the federal government will launch 3-year immigration pilot program to bring in full-time, non-seasonal agricultural works that will include a pathway to permanent residency. All right. So the Canada's agricultural and agri-food system contributes $111 billion to the economy annually and for about $304 million per day. So the federal government, that's IRCC, which is Immigration, Refugee and Citizenship, has yet to announce the details of this pilot program and will be getting about this information very soon. So that will be published in the coming days. All right. So looking into the H-1B issues, which brings the renewed US media interest in Canada's immigration. So if you look into, there was a rejection rate for H-1B visa applications by the United States. So wherein the highly skilled foreign workers who were dependent on them are now turning to Canada in search of a stability and for new opportunities. So, numerous Americans media outlets have published stories in recent days about highly skilled foreign workers living in US who have already made their move to Canada are now looking into their Canadian immigration options given the increasing crisp prospects of obtaining one of the prized 3-year work visa in the current application period, which began on April 1st, 2019. So if you see the number of applications filled each year reaches well into the hundred of thousands and only 85,000 H-1B visas are awarded annually. So since the US President Donald Trump has called for increased scrutiny of the program, which he has accused of displaying Americans' worker and undercutting wages. So the approval rate of H-1B applications has declined as a result, dropping by more than 10% between the year 2015 and 2018. Okay, so where the skilled foreign workers, like those who rely on H-1B visa, are highly prized by Canada's federal and provincial governments, which have tailored their immigration policies and programs in recent years to facilitate the entry of such workers. So many Canadian immigration pathways were select immigration candidates using point-based systems that reward education, English language proficiency, and skilled work experience among their factors, leaving May the H-1B candidates well positioned to pursue the Canadian PR as a result. So the residents of United States ranked third in terms of invitations issued to the express entry system in the year 2017. So by receiving 7% of the total invitations issued that year, given the fact only 2% of invitations went to US citizens in 2017, and the citizen of India led with the most invitations in 2017, receiving 32,310, or can say about 42 percentage of total invitations which was issued that year. Now let's look into the draw for Manitoba, the year 2019, wherein Manitoba held its seventh EOI, the Expression of Interest draw for the year 2019 on March 28th, inviting 595 immigration candidates to apply for a provisional nomination of Canadian PR. So all the invitations went to the candidates in the Manitoba Provincial Nominee Program, that is MPNP's Skilled Workers Overseas, the Skilled workers in Manitoba and international educational streams, wherein the minimum score dropped to 433 of skilled workers in Manitoba candidates. So now the new invitations, which brings to the number total issued by the MPNPs through these streams so far this year is 3,199. And finally, for those who invited in the March 28th draw, had an EOI profile registered with the MPNP, submitting an expression of interest profile is the first required step in order to be considered for a nomination from Manitoba through the Skilled Workers Overseas and Skilled Workers in Manitoba stream, and also is the most pathway under the international education stream. That's all we had about the Canada immigration updates and news. Now let's move ahead to Australian immigration news and updates. About the Australian budget year 2019, wherein the Australian government presented the 2019 and 2020 budget on Tuesday, the 2nd of April 2019, and as usually, there were plenty of changes announced affecting the immigration portfolio, wherein we have reviewed and have identified the key changes as below. The first one, we have visa fee increase. We'll check how much they have increased in the fee structure. Another one, we have longer stay for international graduates, which is a good news for the people who want to stay for more time in abroad. Looking into the general skill migration, wherein the points have been changed. We have new visas for regional Australia, and also there are closures of existing regional visa. So firstly, talking about visa fee increase. So from July 1st, 2019, the visa application changes will increase for all visa except for the subclass 600, which is a visitor visa. So there is a planned increase of 5.4 percentage, which will see a base application fees for a permanent skilled visa. And so people who are looking to apply for a visa should try to lodge their application before July 1st, 2019, if possible, to avoid the fee increase structure, or can start making plans to cover these additional costs. Okay. About the longest stay for international graduates. So this is actually a good news for them who really want to stay there and explore more in that country. So from year 2021, international students who complete their studies in regional Australia and want to continue to remain in that Regional Australia on their graduate visa will now be able to apply for a future 1 year post-study work visa. So those who are looking to study in Australia may now wish to consider applying for regional universities in anticipation of the new regional visas and extended graduate visas. About the general skill migration points change from November 2019, the skilled migration point test will be adjusted to award additional points to the applicants where their partner has competent English but cannot meet the other requirements for the skilled partner points. So the single applicants will not be so disadvantageous as there will be another additional points available for them. So those information we already have in our next slides. Okay, maybe you'll be able to understand in a better way when once we move to that slide. And about the new visas for regional Australia, the immigration plans have introduced three new visas which aimed to attract migrants to regional areas of Australia. Okay, so this is that information about what we had to know. So from November 2019, the provisional employer sponsored and provisional work visa would be available, and that too with a permanent skilled regional visa from 2022. So when now we are talking about this regional, that means we have certain regions which includes like anywhere outside of Brisbane or Gold Coast, Sydney, Melbourne, and Perth. So the migrants can look at places like Queensland, the North Coast, and Toowoomba in New South Wales, or Northern Rivers, or Central Coast, and Hunter Valley. We have also Geelong and the Grampian region in Victoria, and anywhere in South Australia, Tasmania, and the Northern Territory. About the closure of existing regional visas, so which are the visas which are closed? So the current permanent regional sponsored migration scheme, which is the subclass 187, and the state nominated temporary regional visa, that is subclass 489, will be discontinued when the new regional visas come into effect. So the existing visa holders and applications launched before this date will be affected. So the people who are interested in applying for a 489, that 489 visa, should ensure these are lodged by the end of October this year to be eligible under the current rules. So this is especially for the people who are looking to apply for 489 visa. Okay. So about the three new regional provincial visas and the revised point system for new immigrants. The FG, the federal government, has now introduced the three regional provincial visas and also has revised point system for the subclass 491 visa as well as existing general skilled migration visa. So at the commencement of the new regional provisional visa will be included to all of the Australia except for Sydney, Melbourne, Perth, Brisbane and the Gold Coast regions. So in the month of March, the federal government announced that there would be 23,000 extra regional visa spots which requires skilled workers to live and work in regional Australia for 3 years before they can apply for a permanent residency. Okay? So, according to the Migration Amendment, that the new skilled regional visas, that's for Regulation 2019, there are three new visas which have been introduced. The first one is the new subclass 491 skilled work regional or provisional visa. So from 16th November 2019 closes the subclass 489 which is skilled regional provisional visa, subclass 489 and subclass is suspended by subclass 491. The other one is the new subclass 494. This is the skilled employee sponsored regional provisional visa. That also from 16th November 2019 closes the 187 which is the regional sponsored migration scheme visa except for certain transitional course wherein the subclass 187 is suspended by subclass 494 which is the skilled employer sponsored regional provisional visa. The other one, the last one, is the new subclass 191, which is a permanent residence or a skilled regional visa for people who hold a subclass 491 or a subclass 494 visa at the time of applications from 16th November 2022. All right. The other amendments introduced to revise point system for the subclass 491 visa and as well as for the existing general skilled migrant visa. So these are the changes to the points test which are yet to be introduced, wherein the first one says the 10 more points would be added for the skilled spouse or de facto partner. There will be 15 more points for applicants nominated by a state or a territory government or sponsored by a family member residing in the regional Australia. There's another 10 more points for having certain STEM qualification, that is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics qualification. They're adding 10 more points for applicants who do not have a spouse or a de facto partner. For the last category, they are adding 5 points for applicants with a spouse or de facto partner who has competent English. All right. So moving ahead, the slide says 5 years temporary visa for permanent comments. So they are introducing this 5 year temporary visa for parent comments. On 1st March 2019, the government of Australia has announced a new visa which will help the parent to reunite with their children and grandchildren in Australia. So the applications for the visa can be launched from 17th of April 2019 via IMI account. So with this temporary visa, the parent can now stay for a period of 5 years without leaving Australia. And after that, the parent must be outside Australia for at least 90 days before becoming eligible to apply for same visa with a maximum of 5 years period. And for a parent to be eligible for the visa, he or she must be the biological, adoptive, or step-parent of the sponsor, who must be an Australian citizen or an Australian permanent resident or an eligible New Zealand citizen. So an eligible New Zealand citizen. There is no specific processing time as of now have been made available by the Home Affairs Department, but there are several factors which have been told to the effect processing, which includes the number of applications lodged and whether an applicant provides all required information with their application. So these are the eligibilities or the requirements for the sponsor. The first point is the sponsor or the parent relationship requirements. That is, the parent must be the biological or the adoptive or a step-parent of the sponsor, and the step-parent can only apply if they are still in a married or de facto relationship with the biological parent of the sponsor. The age factor, that's 18 years and above, at least 18 is a minimum eligibility. One must be an Australian citizen or a permanent resident or must be eligible New Zealand citizen who has been usually resident in Australia for at least 4 years. And also, he must have met an prior sponsorship obligation and also must have no adverse information unless it is reasonable to disregard the information, must have no debts to the Commonwealth or public health debts unless appropriate arrangements have been made for the payment, and also a minimum household income threshold that's based on the income of the sponsor or the combined income of the sponsor and the spouse or the partner and or any another child of the partner, and also should provide police clearance for any country they have lived or spent more than 12 months cumulatively in during the past 10 years. The last factor that should be an authorized information to be shared with the visa application. So these are the factors, these are the eligibility criteria for the sponsor. Okay, so let's look into the minimum income of $83,000, which is required for a new parent sponsor visa. So, a minimum income should be $83,000 to sponsor for a new parent sponsor visa. The federal government has announced that the minimum income should be, must be, will be required for any immigrant or to sponsor one's parents for the new visa. So only those migrants with a taxable income of 83,454 will be able to sponsor their parents for the new temporary sponsored parent visa. So the Minister of Immigration, Citizenship and Multicultural Affairs, that's David Coleman, specified the amount in the new legislative instrument. So he also announced last month that applications to sponsor a parent for this new visa would be opened from 17th of April 2019. So once the sponsorship application has been approved, the concerned parent will be able to apply for a sponsored parent, that's a temporary visa, wherein the applications for the visa are expected to be opened from 1st of July 2019. So about the temporary visa, that subclass 870, the sponsored parent visa, provides parents and grandparents with a new pathway to reunite with their children and also to spend time together for a continuous period of up to 5 years. So this is a very long time. So there is also an opportunity to apply for a second visa for another 5 years after a short period outside Australia. So when we spoke about the short period, that was for about 90 days. So for a period of 90 days, the parent has to go outside and then again he can apply. So meaning parent and grandparent will be able to spend up to 10 years in Australia. So just with a gap of 9 months in between, they can be together for 10 years. Now the application fee, it's $5,000 for a 3-year visa. The sponsorship fee is 420 Australian dollars. So the sponsor has to prove their income of 83,454 Australian dollars. Okay, and it can be a joint family income too. So as we said, either it can be a spouse or that can be a partner also that could be included with the child's income. So overall, it should be approximately 83,454 Australian dollars of income. So this temporary sponsored visa is designed to allow the parents to migrant to spend a long time in Australia. However, the income, capability, and other conditions of the visa have left some immigrants fuming. Okay, so this is about the Australia to get more QS under New Deal, wherein this is a new deal struck between the Australia and the New Zealand's leaders, which will make it much easier for thousands of Kiwis to gain Australian citizenship. So this is another great opportunity for the people to settle in Australia. When we look into the first point, it says that New Zealanders who have lived and worked in Australia for 5 consecutive years will find it easier to become a citizen under a new deal struck between the two nations. So whoever have lived and worked in Australia for 5 years, that's very easy for them to become a citizen of Australia. Previously, most New Zealanders moving to Australia have fallen into special visa categories that have prevented them seeking citizenship and leaving them unable to access welfare service. So when compared to the last time, this is not going to happen in this deal. So wherein they will be having access for all the welfare services for the people who are going to settle in Australia. This deal will also enable those who have lived in Australia for 5 years, not only five or more years, and during that time, the earned income in excess of the temporary skilled migration income threshold of about 54,000 to become a citizen. So the salary threshold threshold must be 54,000 for anybody to become a citizen of Australia. So with all the health, the character and security checks will also be part of this deal. So this is all about the deal which these two countries made, Australia and the New Zealand made. So that was all about the updates and news we had about Australia and Canada. Thank you for all of you who participated and showed interest, taking out some time to go through the updates and news. We will meet you back again with more information, more details very soon. If you have any questions, you want to share any feedback, want to leave us with any comments, please don't forget to contact us, or you can write us at experts@visalearning.com. Thank you once again. Hope you have a good day ahead.